German art school that influenced design education around the world. The Bauhaus began in the German city of Weimar. The head of the school was Walter Gropius, an architect who wanted to merge art and industry. The Bauhaus took over a traditional art academy. Most art schools separated the fine and applied arts, but Gropius wanted to bring them together.
The basic course was a 6-month program devoted to the basics of design and materials. It tried to erase students' preconceptions about art.
The first leader of the basic course was Johannes Itten. He wore long robes, studied Eastern philosophy, and he ate a lot of garlic. Itten's basic course emphasized self-expression. Students were taught to experience line, form, and texture in a direct, physical way. Graphic works from the early years of the Bauhaus were often rough and handmade.
Itten's hand-lettered lithograph includes mystical symbols and Gothic alphabets. Here, Itten translated his expressionist sensibility into letterpress type. Note the Gothic letters and blocks of justified text. The piece is expressive, but it is not modern in a constructivist sense.
Itten's expressionistic methods clashed with the more rational aims of Gropius, the school's director, and Itten's eccentric demeanor and garlic alarmed the conservative people of Weimar. So Gropius fired Itten and hired Laszlo Moholy-Nagy, who took over the basic course in 1923. Moholy-Nagy belonged to the constructivist group in Hungary, and he was a friend of L. Lissitzky.
Moholy-Nagy's clothing is similar to Rodchenko's. These guys were not eccentric mystics. They were artists, engineers.
In 1923, the Bauhaus held a major public exhibition that tried to show the people of Weimar that the school was committed to industry and progress, not bohemian romanticism. Moholy-Nagy designed this catalog with Herbert Bayer. The Bauhaus produced many works of graphic design to promote the 1923 exhibition. This poster is by Jus Schmidt, a student in the typography and advertising workshop.
Under the influence of Moholy-Nagy, a more structured, geometric style took root at the school. Note Schmidt's abstract geometric illustration style and his densely packed, architecturally considered lettering.
This design for a chess set shows how Jus Schmidt was thinking in terms of geometric systems beyond illustration to create a functional language. Each chess piece represents the moves the piece makes on the board. The knight moves in an L shape, and the queen moves in all directions. The painter Wassily Kandinsky wanted to prove a universal connection between basic geometric shapes and primary colors. So the triangle is yellow because it is bright, light, and acidic. The circle is blue because it is serene, like the moon. And the square is red because, well, partly because red squares were associated with socialist politics. The red square appears in many works of constructivist design as a symbol of leftist ideology. There's the red square in a poster for the Bauhaus exhibition. And again in this poster by Herbert Bayer, who was a student at the Bauhaus and later became a teacher and a prominent commercial designer.
Bayer created this design for a mural in the Bauhaus staircase based on the theme of the yellow triangle, the red square, and the blue circle. Gropius got the red square for his office. And the red arrow reminds me of L. Lissitzky's logo.
Yes, Bayer would have known about Lissitzky's work. This cradle uses the red square, yellow triangle, and blue circle. It's weighted at the bottom so it won't roll over, but I wouldn't put a baby in it.
Here's our creative prompt for this session. What's your opinion? Make a drawing in Illustrator or by hand of the 3 basic shapes. Fill in each shape with its ideal color, red, yellow, blue, or something else. Explain your answer in 1 or 2 sentences.
So the basic course at the Bauhaus, which put artists and designers together and taught them common fundamentals, is still the basis for many foundation programs in art schools around the world. Do you think that model still works for designers today?
Sure, absolutely. I think there's a real benefit for artists and designers studying foundation year, 1 year together, just to learn the basics before they specialize and go into a specific major.
I don't know. I disagree. I feel that design is so specialized designers could use their own foundation. Why should designers have to study life drawing?
Why not? Young artists coming to art school might not know about design, so they could learn about it in the context with other artists.
Yeah, and if design was separated and was only taught by itself, it might become more of a trade and less integrated. It's a good point. The Bauhaus moved to Dessau in 1925. The building, designed by Gropius, became an icon of modern architecture. In Dessau, the school became more industry-focused. Mariana Brandt was a product designer at the Bauhaus. She made this geometric teapot back in Weimar. Do you think this teapot would be functional?
The handle looks like it would be hard to pick up. The whole teapot is metal, so it might get hot to the touch. It's really more like a sculpture than a functional product.
In Dessau, Mariana Brandt began making products like these functional ceiling lamps. The user can easily adjust the length of the fixtures, which are still in production today. This lamp by Wilhelm Wagenfeld is also still in production. To design the product catalog, Herbert Bayer translated the aesthetics of Bauhaus products into rational typography and layout. These two chairs were designed by Marcel Breuer at the Bauhaus. The early chair is made of wood. The later chair is made of chromed tubular metal. You can see the transformation from craft to industry. So let's compare Breuer's chair with a chair made in the USA in the 1930s. They're both leather and chrome, but they are so different.
So different. The American chair looks more comfortable. Look how deep that upholstered cushion is. The chrome elements are tripled up to make it sturdier. Instead of a cube drawn in lines of chrome, the frame is a teardrop shape, which suggests speed.
Speed? I wonder how fast a chair could really go, even in America. Early Bauhaus graphics looked like this. There is no real system. The marks are fussy and detailed. Moholy-Nagy created this logo in 1923. He built a single symbol from a circle, square, and triangle. It's an arrow, and it's pointing left. Moholy-Nagy applied the logo to books and communications published by the Bauhaus, and it makes a great tattoo. Bauhaus books and journals promoted the school as an international thought leader.
Herbert Bayer designed these letterheads in Dessau. They used a grid to organize the text of the letter. Each one has a manifesto on the bottom about not using capital letters. Why do you think he disliked capital letters?
Well, we don't talk with capital letters, right? And by eliminating those capital letters, you would save a lot of type in a metal type shop.
I guess Herbert Bayer didn't always drink his own Kool-Aid.
Brockett, which poster is more constructivist?
I think Bayer's poster is more constructivist. It's more machine-made, it's printed with letterpress, with a halftone photo. The red bars add structure and emphasis. The other poster is busier and much more decorative.
This is Bayer's proposal for a universal alphabet. It's only lowercase, of course, and the letter forms are designed with geometric shapes. Bayer used his lettering concept in this poster from 1930 for an exhibition about Bauhaus architecture. A tiny figure is engulfed by intersecting planes. He occupies an abstract universal space. And that big white plane is like a giant movie screen.
Ed Benguiat created the typeface Bauhaus in 1975. This typeface became more famous than Herbert Bayer's original idea.
So how did he change Bayer's idea?
He made an uppercase version. The gaps make the letters lighter. The angle in the E is very jazzy. And the whole effect is just more fun and less serious. The typeface Futura is also based on geometric elements. Paul Renner's early designs include many experimental characters, but the final design is more conventional. Futura was widely used by graphic designers. Futura was considered the perfect match for photography, the rational form of modern montage.
That makes a great transition to our next lesson, Type and Ideology. Paul Renner's student, Jan Chickhold, turned avant-garde ideas into a practical method for commercial designers.